Well, we're late. We're late. There you
We're
are.
late because it took me a long time at the last store. I had to ask for things. They were out of it. Didn't it cost too much?
Tell us how you feel about the economy. Tell us how tell us how you feel about. Oh,
About capitalism? Well, just how many hours do you have? Unregulated capitalism. I'm going shopping to Sprouts now, where the store is always colder than no matter how cold it is outside. So I would feel sad for Lon being in the rainy, cold car, but I've got it worse.
yes, she does. Thank you, dear.
Good morning, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Okay, let's see if I can turn my camera around here. There we are. Sorry I'm late, but it's a wild and crazy time out there. Uh, it's very wet in Sacramento, very wet and windy. And uh, let's see if I turned off my lights. Yes. And we just rolled up here at Sprouts like we do every Tuesday. And I hope everybody has survived your Christmas Sunday and your Boxing Day Monday, and are settling in and are safe. And I've got a because there's no heat in the car. Let's see. In this little bag here, it's a thermal bag, and in the thermal bag, oh, I did the wrong thing. In the thermal bag is two microwaved puppies. Oh, oh, we call them puppies. We stick them in the microwave. They're just rice in a bag. And I'm putting them right there because Constance doesn't want me to get chilled because of our lack of life insurance. Anyway, where were we? We were let's see, put everything in plastic because of the rain. Yeah, I've got a book of lies, and I've got some handouts from yesterday. This is part 2 of my discussion of chapter 0 of the Book of Lies, just to and sort of a commentary. Oh, damn it! Well, sort of a commentary on this handout thing that I printed out yesterday, and sort of a tree of life. Yeah. I'm pretty disorganized here. I just dropped this valuable edition. Now, just a few minutes ago in the last parking lot, I took a picture of notes I've scrawled on the inside toward the back here on a blank page of my Book of Lies, where I sort of had too much time on my hands one day, and I organized all of the interrelated chapters of the Book of Lies. There's 93 chapters, if you include the two ones with just symbols on it. There's 93 chapters, and they are arranged in some odd, interrelated, interreferential ways, where Crowley developed certain concepts that he was working with at the time, like words that capital I and capital T, it, and capital THAT, that. And then there are Layla chapters, and then there's Perdurabo chapters, and then there's chapters interrelated to the great work, and then there's chapters that are appropriate to VVVVV, and there's rituals. There's 3 rituals, and so I've organized all with all caps in the title, and ones that are associated with tarot cards, and I sort of put them all together so that when I studied the Book of Lies, I wouldn't just study it one chapter at a time. I'd study the interrelated chapters, and it really was sort of a fertile ground for further meditations on it. But anyway, yesterday, let's see, is this the one I did for yesterday? Yesterday, I did this very sloppy one on the 3 veils above, 3 veils of the negative above the supernal triad. And if I will allow myself here, I will hold up one of these, and today I'll read the whole thing. Chapter 0, the anti-primal triad, which is not God. Okay, and that's that sort of vaulted thing above that. Those the 3 veils of the negative. Kabbalists talk about them as Ein, Ein Sof, and Ein Sofor. Sort of like nothing that's so nothing you, if you even start talking about it, it stops being so totally nothing. And then there's nothing that you talk about, and then there's nothing that is. And I know that's very subtle, but the Kabbalists, I guess they discovered coffee, and they sat around saying, well, we can't think about nothing without thinking of 3 kinds of nothing. And those 3 kinds of nothing eventually get to a point where they actually define it by saying nothing is not. And that's a double negative. And that means in language that something is. And that something that is that number 1. That's how Kether the Crown came out of 3 veils of the negative. Now our friend Laird Stratton, who is expert par excellence of the Dogon philosophy, can talk at great length about the Dogon's cosmology, about how things come immaterial, coming into the material, going in and out of material and immaterial. Laird could probably just thrill us no end with a discussion of these 3 veils of the negative popping through to manifestation. But this is how the Kabbalists tried to wrap their brains around it. So the antiprimal triad, which is not God, and the three are nothing is, nothing becomes, nothing is not. Okay, so that's where we left off yesterday. And with the first triad, I am for Kether, I utter the word for Hokmah. Number 2, I hear the word for number 3, Binah. Now, even in Greek Gnosticism, the logos, the logos, the word, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God. That word is number 2. But the word sets a cosmic universal vibration, and it does not exist as such unless there is something to hear it. Now, in the supernal triad, the I am and the I utter the word and I hear the word are really aspects of the same thing. It's one thing doing all of that. So we haven't even created a 2 yet. Okay, but we have created a broken one that utters a word and hears a word. Okay, that broken one, that triad of one just thinking about itself reflects itself in a whole nother Trinity unit, and that's that second triad. But before that second triad, that looking glass that reflects the second triad from the first triad is called the abyss. And the abyss, here's what it says about the abyss, and that's let's see, do I have a squiggly line? Yeah. I drew a squiggly line there. I don't know if you can see it in the dark, gloomy rain here. The abyss. The word is broken up. There is knowledge. Now, Da'ath, the weird sort of anti-Sephirah that's in the abyss is called knowledge. Knowledge is disbursement and madness, but no, that's as high as your meat brain can take you. Da'ath. The word is the abyss. The word is broken up. There is knowledge. Knowledge is relation. And these fragments are creation. The broken manifests the light. Now, somewhere along the line, even in Crowley's note, he says, the unbroken, okay, above the abyss, unbroken, absorbing all is called darkness. But the broken we call light, LVX. And that LVX is expressed in other images that and concept that we would call the rosy cross. So he said the second triad, that's the second 3, second triad, which is God. God the Father and the Mother is concealed in generation. That's number 4. God is concealed in the whirling energy of nature. That's number 5. Gebur. God is manifest in gathering, harmony, consideration. the mirror of the sun and of the heart. That's Tifereth. The third triad, just like 3 instantly was created out of 2, a third triad is instantly created when the second triad gets itself reflected. The third triad, bearing, that's Netzach. Wavering, flowing, flashing, that's Hod. Stability, begetting, that's Yesod. And then down at the bottom, the 10th emanation, the world. Now, part of that self-referential chart that I have in the back, I wrote myself a note here that see chapter 11. Well, there's a lot of other chapters that are relevant, but here's what chapter 11 said. Concerning the holy, 3 in Not, that's the Ein Sof, Nuit, Hadit, Rahur, Kuit, are only to be understood by the master of the temple. That's someone who's has crossed the abyss and has reached the level of consciousness associated with number 3, the doorway to the whole supernal triad. They are above the abyss and contain all contradictions in themselves. But below them is a seeming duality of chaos, number 2 on the tree of life, and Babylon, number 3 on the tree of life. They are called father and mother, but they're not so. They're called brother and sister, but it is not so. They are called husband and wife, but it is not so. The reflection of all is Pan. The night of Pan is the annihilation of the all. Cast down through the abyss is the light. Remember, above the abyss, it absorbs all and is called darkness. And there we open up the can of worms that Crowley introduces into the Thelemic magic system, this above the abyss, master of the temple, Magus Ipsissimus, and the concept of NOx. LVX is light extended, NOx, light, well, it absorbs all, a concept that absorbs all. And from where we're looking at it, it looks like darkness, but it's the coolest. Okay. Cast down through the abyss is the light, the rosy cross, the rapture of union that destroys. That is the way. The rosy cross is the ambassador of Pan. How infinite is the distance from this to that, yet all here now. It looks like I froze there for a second. I'm going to read that again. How infinite is the distance from this to that, yet all is here and now. Nor is there any there or then, for all that is, what is it but a manifestation? That is a part, that is a falsehood of that, and that's spelled with all caps, of that which is not. Okay, here's what he says in the commentary. Pan is a generic name including this whole system of its manifested side. Those which are above the abyss are therefore said to live in the night of Pan. they are only reached by the annihilation of all. Thus, the master of the temple lives in the night of Pan. Now, below the abyss, the manifested part of the master of the temple, so the manifested part of the master of the temple's already across the abyss. And this is where we got to sort of start to begin to approach thinking like across the abyss logic. And it's not always easy. Crowley says something here. Let's see. The whole idea is if you start to practice thinking across the abyss logic, you fall into a pattern where you naturally reconcile all opposites, that you naturally see the contradiction in every thought that you think. Now, just practicing doing that sort of sets up a rhythm in how your meat brain operates, to start appreciating non-meat brain logic. Am I saying that? Does that make any sense? Anyway, so once again, I'm going to just review this tiny chapter. The anti-primal triad, which is not God. Nothing is, nothing becomes, nothing is not. First triad of the tree of life. I am. I utter the word. I hear the word. Then the abyss, where the word is broken up. There is knowledge. Knowledge is relation. These fragments are creation. The broken manifests light. The second triad, 4, 5, and 6, which is God. God the Father and Mother is concealed in generation, number 4. God is concealed in the whirling energy of nature, number 5. God is manifest in the gathering, harmony, consideration, number 6, is the mirror of the sun and of the heart. And then finally, the third triad, which somebody rightly pointed out yesterday in their comments. That's the hardest one to swallow, to appreciate, to see as such, because it's so it represents such an early stage in our initiatory career that we're still reeling with the initial. We're thrown off balance, if you will. More accurately, we're thrown in balance after a lifetime, after thousands of lifetimes of being unbalanced. And it's a little mind-boggling. So that third lowest triad is the hardest one to sort of sink our mystical teeth into. The third triad, 7, bearing, preparing. 8, wavering, flowing, flashing. 9, the yesod, the foundation, stability, begetting. And finally, the 10th emanation, the sun. The whole commentary is, this is the negative trinity. That's the anti-primal, not God, Nothing is, nothing becomes, nothing is not. This is the negative trinity. The three statements are, in an ultimate sense, identical. They harmonize being, becoming, and not being. The three possible modes of conceiving the universe. The statement, nothing is not, technically equivalent to something is fully explained in the essay called Bereshit. That's you can find that in the collected works of Aleister Crowley. The rest of the chapter follows the Sephardic system of the Kabbalah and constitutes a sort of quintessential comment upon the system. Those familiar with that system will recognize Kether, Hokmah, Binah in the first triad, Da'ath in the abyss, Hesed, Geburah, and Tifereth in the second triad, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod in the third triad, and Malkuth in the 10th emanation. And Crowley modestly says it'll be noticed that this cosmology is very complete. The manifestation even of God does not appear until the 6th Sephiroth, Tifereth. And the universe itself not until Malkuth. This chapter therefore may be considered as the most complete treatise on existence ever written. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave it today before my puppy drops out of my lap again. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be in my nice warm office, which is not really very warm now that I think of it. Anyway, I can't complain when I think about our friends in the Midwest and everywhere else, okay? Just a few miles east of here, we have Lake Tahoe and the Donner Pass and things like that. And this rain is bringing some well-needed, much-needed snow, which California depends on that snowpack. So we tell these rain clouds, we're happy to see them, but head toward the mountains and dump it there. Anyway, that's it for today. Continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.